Hello everybody, Brian the Pirate here, and I've got some good news about boss damage reduction in Last Epoch. Before I go into that, however, I just wanted to do a quick apologies for the lack of videos on the channel recently. Some of you may know I've been looking for work. I lost my job literally a week before Christmas, and I've been trying to get back into things and keeping myself financially afloat. But I've got good news there as well. I have a new job starting in quite literally 2 days, so look forward to having some more consistent videos in the future. Let's talk about this good news with regards to the boss damage reduction now. In short, they're getting rid of it. Huzzah, you may say. For those of you who are like, what's boss damage reduction? Allow me to explain. Let's, for example, take my Bleed Falconer build. The entire point of the Bleed Falconer build is, one, you can pump out bleeds like nobody's business, but you also then use Dive Bomb to consume those bleeds to do monumental damage. My bleed build is capable of doing quite literally millions of damage in one hit against trash and elite mobs. But then if I come across a major boss such as the Abomination, a few zeros get cut off, and it feels a little bit lackluster in those moments, and it's not a great feeling. And it's something that's been complained about quite a lot within the Last Epoch community, especially when more players came onto the scene after the release. Now, the reason for that mechanic was so you couldn't just one-shot bosses. You didn't delete them in a very short amount of time. It allowed you to actually fight the boss, as opposed to, say, like in Diablo 4, where I made my bonk build, where I could literally just walk in, one-shot the boss with one hit, including Lilith, and that was it. That was the game. You're like, cool, I'm going to go reset and just do it again. It was gimmicky. It was fun to a degree, but obviously it became the way everyone made and designed their characters, and it's just not that fun. So Last Epoch obviously wanted to avoid that, so they introduced boss damage reduction, and it was dynamic, so there was no way to get around it, no way to trick it. You just had to fight the boss properly. As I mentioned, the numbers were significantly smaller, you felt significantly less powerful, it just didn't have a good feel to it. And 11th Hour Games, I was going to say Last Epoch Games, they've recognized this feedback, and they've said, okay, well, we need to do something different. We need to still prevent you from being able to one-shot the boss, but allow you to still feel like you're a powerful beef castle who's made a really good and clever build. So how have they done that, you may be asking? Well, as you can see on screen right now, they're doing it with Ward. So what they're doing, as you can see on the screen above me, there is a new health bar, which has Ward on it, but you'll also notice these little pips along the bottom of the health bar. In this case, there's 4. That isn't the same for every boss. It will vary. Some bosses may only have 2, some may only have 3, 4, 5, and so on. That will vary from boss to boss and how many they feel it required. But the idea is you will go through the boss's health, and whenever you hit one of these pips, they will get 75% of their maximum health as Ward, and it will just immediately appear, and then you have to get through the Ward as well, and every time you get through these pips, it will just re-enable this Ward. They've also said that the way the boss Ward works is slightly different to how it would work on a player. So on players, you've got Ward Decay, and it's based on how much Ward you have is how fast it decreases. With Ward on bosses, it's about how long they've been alive for, so the longer that they're up. So if you do low damage, the faster eventually over time the Ward will decay. It will increase in speed. What this means is it is technically possible to make some gargantuan build of humanity that can one-shot the boss. It's just going to be extraordinarily difficult. But it also means that you can actually feel your damage and get that power fantasy. It's actually still going to be there. I did ask Mike during the live stream specifically. I was like, so if I do somehow manage to come up with a build that can do a one-shot, is it theoretically possible because of obviously how the Ward essentially spawns on top of the health bar when it hits these pips? And he said, yes, it's actually possible because it will just calculate that amount of damage into the amount of health, including all the Ward, if you have the means to surpass it. That's a bit wordy, forgive me, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. They actually show a clip of what this looks like. Do bear in mind the clip that they showed on screen is with a character that's very beefy. They are probably wearing like 4 legendary power legendaries, things like that. They've specifically made an extraordinarily beefy build that is capable of permalocking the boss in CC. But just focus on the health bar for now. You'll notice the abomination has 3 pips, and you'll see how this new mechanic functions. So as you see, each time you hit the pips, you go through the ward again, and it repeats for how many pips there are, and then it repeats. I think this is a great idea. I commend them for putting players in a position where they are forced to actually engage in the boss fight and they can't just cheese it, basically. I think that is a commendable thing to strive for. And I think it's good that they've managed to give us back that power fantasy, that feeling of power. Obviously, I've yet to try this. This is coming in 1.1. It's not live before then, as far as I'm aware. But I've got a feeling this is going to go down pretty well with the community. From what I saw in the Twitch chat, there were some people that have obviously experienced it in the closed test server already, and they seem pretty stoked with what they were seeing. So what do you guys think of this this change? Do you think it's going to be a good positive one? Are you just glad to see boss damage reduction gone? I am personally. It was really demoralizing watching my build that could do like 5 million damage do 50,000 with the dive bombs and things like that. So I'm actually quite stoked for this change. I think it's an interesting way to go about it, other than make health pool bigger. I think it's also thematic to Last Epoch as well. It's a bit imaginative. I really appreciate that with 11th Hour games. They always try to put a Last Epoch spin on it, but it's never arbitrary. You know? Does that make sense? I hope it does. But anyway, that's going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you don't. It helps me with the algorithm gods either way. And subscribe if you haven't already. I like to make videos like this for Last Epoch, Diablo 4, Path of Exile, and Super Path of Exile 2. Oh, that's going to be glorious. That's going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching. Farewell. I'll remember you.